Hello and welcome to Pest Perspectives number 60. That's mental to believe that it's a 60th episode. Sorry about last week, that cancellation, I guess, but it couldn't be helped. There was a family emergency. But I have now sorted it. I've got a list of backup people and I've got a list of backup content we can talk about. So that shouldn't happen anymore. I will, rather than just not doing one, I will get hold. I've got a few people I can ask, and I'm banking content we could potentially talk about to fill in if it ever happens again. But the diary's getting quite full. I'm starting to book it up. So if you got any requests, people, obviously be realistic in who you're going to ask me to get. If you want people from pest control, big chemical companies, don't even ask me because it's not going to happen. They don't seem too keen. But generally, a lot of people are. I'm starting to book. That's my fault. I used to be 3-4 months ahead. But getting booked up now. But this week, I have Martin from co-founder and chairman of the NADC. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing well, Shaun. How are you?
I'm okay. Cheers.
You good? Thanks for having us on.
No, it's good. And everyone, this is Martin's first live podcast and actual podcast, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah. Done loads of CPD events like this, but never live.
So there you go. You've got one down to you. I've done one live. Yeah. So obviously this is a pest control industry podcast. And obviously, there is a massive link to rats and drains. Yeah. And a lot of people don't think there is. Obviously, people within your own industry. Rats need... Because I was on that... I did Davy's course with Killgerm. And that's one thing he kept saying. That people have been doing it 30 years, keep telling them rats don't come from the drains. Rats don't live in the sewers. And they still say it, you know. But it's crazy that because it's obviously he never mentions the names of companies, etc. He don't want to for legal reasons. But yeah, there's a lot out there. There is, but yeah. So would you like to tell people who you are, what you do, and your company, and what you've been around quite a long time within the drainage industry, haven't you?
I have. Had a couple of silly jobs after I left school, and about 2 weeks before my 18th birthday, I managed to get on to Dynarod. I won't say when that was. It was a long time ago. I think it was about 2.5 years with Dynarod. Okay. Then I left them, and I went to work for John Murphy's, big utilities contractor, doing the mainline sewers.
Okay.
Performed a variety of roles there, one of which was sewer winching. Not many people have heard of that, and even less have done it. Enjoyed that. Worked on their combi tankers there as well, the Vector 825s. Some of the older lads that are around will remember them. They were the ones with the big jetting, combination units, tankers. But they were unusual to look at because the jet reel was mounted on the front of the lorry, not on the back.
Okay. Is this where you just blast the drains out of the blocks? Because obviously a lot of people listening won't know what you're talking about. They won't.
Right. High pressure jetting, but for mainline sewers. But the beauty of the 825 was it was one of the first where you could jet and suck up at the same time.
Oh.
So the jetting come off the PTO, off the main lorry engine, and the vacuum pump come off of a slave or a donkey engine. Then I went to a company called William Titmus. They were based in Camden, not far from where I lived. They were drainage consultants. Done about 2 years, just over 2 years with them. Back to Dynarod, and then flipped between Dynarod and Drain Doctor. And then about 25 years ago, I opened up on my own. And then it wasn't long into my own business, about 8 or 9 years, when news come to both Peter Stacey and myself, my co-founder at the NADC, about the James and Sewers transfer bill. So we started ringing around contractors around the country and warning people about what was going to be happening.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, that was the spark. That's where the NADC was born. And from the NADC, we formed, at the advice of DEFRA, we formed the National Drainage Academy, developed a suite of training courses. So there's training for jetting, electromechanical, excavation repair, CCTV, which I'll talk about in a little bit more detail in a minute, patch lining. We've now got a vacuum tanker course. There's a new mapping course coming out very, very shortly, and that has to come out. I can talk to you about that in a little bit more detail shortly as well. Yeah. And then what happened sort of probably about 8 or 9 years down the line, we were talking to the stakeholders, a lot of stakeholders, that we wanted them to engage with the NADC, and they said, look, what you really need is an independent approved contractor scheme. So we went off and we've done our research. We spent a couple of years on that, as it turned out, and a fair bit of money. And that's when DrainSafe was born. So the NADC, National Association of Drainage Contractors, it's a trade association just like any other. Yeah. People often get the two confused. NADC is a trade association, but DrainSafe is an approved contractor scheme, similar to WaterSafe or I suppose even GasSafe to an extent.
Okay.
So that's where the difference. So it's sort of threefold: the NADC, the NDA, the Academy, and DrainSafe. Why is talking to pest controllers important? Well, I can tell you now, from just the year before lockdown, 2019, it was dribs and drabs at first, and then it really, really came on. But we started getting first the odd pest controller on a CCTV course. Then there'd be 2 on the course. Then there'd be 3. I've done one last summer. There was 12 on the course, but 7 of them were pest controllers.
Oh, that's interesting.
Not one of them was from the same company.
Oh.
And what we're noticing is more and more and more pest controllers are going out, they're buying cameras, and they're attempting to do these CCTV surveys themselves because they can see obviously the financial benefit of doing so. Yeah. The problem that I think we're running into is a lot of them, if the truth be told, could really benefit from training, proper training. Now, we know David Brown runs his course through Killgerm, which is brilliant. You've sat it, I've sat it. I learned a lot from it. I mean, you can always learn a lot from David Brown, let's be honest.
Yeah.
He's forgotten more than most people know, if the truth be told. A very, very good course. But I think when it comes to drainage systems, understanding components and design, understanding drainage law as well, very, very important. And the full CCTV course, our CCTV course, there's no other in the country like it, because our course was written by two organisations. First of all, the WRC, the Water Research Centre. They're the same people, Shaun, who write the book, the MSCC5, Manual of Sewer Condition Classification, 5th edition.
Oh, I've got one of them books. Wow.
Yeah, right. The people that wrote that book are the same people that wrote our course. But there's one, one quite sizable element within our course, which is about drainage misconnections. And that was written for us by the Environment Agency. So we didn't write that course ourselves. We had it professionally done. And there is no other course in the country where you can sit that course, get your certification, where it's got an NADC, it's got an EU skills, it's got WRC, and it's got an Environment Agency certification behind it. And what we're trying to do at the moment is we're trying to educate as much of the pest control industry, those that are buying cameras. If you're going to do these surveys, do them to a recognised professional standard. Yeah. I've had pest control guys in the classroom. I always go around the classroom and I'll ask people, what brings you on the course? Get the feedback. What sort of camera gear are you using? Get the feedback. What reporting software are you using? Get the feedback. And what's kind of surprising, Shaun, is a lot of these guys, they're coming on the courses to professionalize themselves and their own companies, which is a big, big plus, a very big positive. But then what they're doing is they're going on to places like eBay and they're buying cameras for £500-600. And that just doesn't work. If you're going to be doing professional drain surveys and professional vermin investigation surveys, then you need to be using the proper kit. You should have the proper qualifications behind you. You know, you should be using proper recognised reporting software. And as much as that is lacking in the drainage industry to a degree, it is really sadly lacking in the pest control industry. And that's something that we would like to change. We would like to see these guys professionalise themselves to the highest standard.
I can see why, to start with, why some of them are, because some of them, when you start a new service, you might get naff or work, and they might just jack it in. Because I can see why they probably get a cheaper camera to start with. So,
indeed, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Pest control.
Yeah.
Now, I know pest control covers a wide range of things. We're talking about insects. We're talking about bugs. We're talking about wasps. We're talking about probably stuff that's so minute you can probably barely see it. Fleas and the like. I don't know. I can't imagine. But I would imagine the vast majority of pest control firms out there, I would say the majority, can't be all of them, but I would say the majority of them are getting called about vermin.
Yes.
Rat infestations. And it stands to reason that if you've got a rat in your property, or if you're getting repeated rat infestations, the first port of call should be your underground drainage system.
Yeah, you're all right.
To me, that's a no-brainer. But there are pest control firms out there that are coming out and they're treating, you know, baiting up and baiting up and baiting up and baiting up. As Davey Brown always says, prevention is better than the cure.
Definitely is.
You know, you need to find the source of how they're getting in. If you can cure that problem, you've cured the rat problem, because they're confined to the underground drainage system or the local sewerage network, which is, I wouldn't say where they should be, but that's where they tend to reside.
Exactly. It's becoming more, I've noticed it more and more prevalent, because obviously that is where they come from. It is not every case, obviously, not every case, but sometimes it is a stat that goes around is 80 to 90% of homes in the UK are drain related. They are for rat infestations. They are. So it comes to reason why pest controllers want to upskill, and I totally believe you're right, because we do say in the pest control industry everyone should have all the certificates, etc.
Absolutely.
Within, you should also then. I want to do a few more in the future for drains, to upskill more, but it's learning what I need to do, etc. Because it's obviously, when you go online, there's loads of different websites. You need to know what information is correct and what you can ask people like yourself or Davey, what's the best route? You can.
Absolutely. I would say to any pest controller out there, if they're even consider it, get onto Davey Brown's course immediately. You know, you will learn so much and you will gain so much knowledge right off the bat. But then if you are going to take it that one step further, if you're going to go out, start spending money on camera gear and the like, then you really need to be sitting the CCTV course and getting right up to speed with everything that you need to know about underground drainage. You might not employ it all in the field, but at least you're armed with that information. You can talk with all the courage and conviction that you need.
Yeah.
To talk to any client. Remember, in situations, quite often you're going to be talking to probably building surveyors. You might be talking to building engineers. You could be talking to EHOs. They're going to want to know that if you've been called in and you're getting paid a fair amount of money to do this job, that you're properly qualified and certified to do the job that they're paying you to do. Otherwise, what are you? You're an amateur with a camera. Nothing more than that.
Yeah, it's a fair point, because we talk about in the industry how every summer when the wasps come out, all the window cleaners start doing wasp nests, and everyone moans about it. It's the same situation, really, isn't it?
It is.
It is. So with that, would you reckon if someone was to do full proper drain surveys, you'd recommend Davey's course?
Yeah.
You'd recommend the CCTV, but would you recommend? Is it the site drain surveyors course? Would you recommend that as well?
It is a drain surveyor's course. The course that we run is the CDS, Certified Drainage Surveyor.
Oh, so that is the same course.
That is the course, yeah.
Right,
Certified Drainage Surveyor. 2-day course.
Yeah.
And it covers everything that you need to know. Starts off with drainage law, goes into misconnections, goes into components and design, talks a bit about drain cleaning, methods of drain cleaning and the like, and then it goes into actual coding, identifying defects properly, coding defects properly.
Yeah.
And, there's 5 full modules on that. And then it goes on. I mean, to give you an example, now I can't explain this, even with my own company, Accelerated Drain Services, based down here in London. And maybe you can tell me, I don't know. I've asked about, nobody else seems to know. But since lockdown 2020, vermin infestations seem to have skyrocketed.
Yeah, it's
Are you experiencing the same thing?
I wouldn't say where I am particularly, but what I would say is since 2020, well, before 2020, rat infestations used to be not in the summer, right? Not in the warm times. You can still have rat infestations all year round, doesn't matter what the weather is.
Yeah.
So massively, I'd say, since then, the populations have rocketed. If you look at Birmingham, look at the mess they're in.
Mm.
With all the bin collections, etc., all the rats building up. Yeah. But you are right. Since 2020, the rats have exploded. They have. There's more of them, and we get them even in the heat of the wasp season. The rats are still about. They're still there. They're not. It's not going down. It's going up. It is.
I don't know if it's just my company. I've spoken to other guys that offer the similar service, and they're in the same boat as I am. They're getting a lot more calls for it now, month by month by month.
Yeah, because obviously, I tell you, the biggest thing we get is customers. You obviously know what I'm about to say, anyway. Yeah, a lot of customers say there's something for the drains. We keep coming back. Obviously, this was previous to us trying anything else. And I said, you need to get a full drain survey, not one off the water board. Oh, no, I've got one off the water board. If all the drains are fine. I says, no, that's their drains are fine, not under your house.
Yeah.
And a lot of them don't end up getting it done. I says, well, you'll just have us back. And I said, but I actually refuse to go back. I said that until you get a full drain survey, I'm not coming back because you're just going to have them for the next 20 years. It's pointless me coming back. Mm-hmm. Obviously, a lot of people would still take the bait, to take the money, I mean.
Yeah.
But the issue I was having was I couldn't get to them. Wherever they were, I said to them, you've got to get a full drain survey. And a lot of customers there must be something on Google that says, yeah, just ring up your water company. I'll do it for you for no. Everyone seems to do it. They do.
I think, to be honest with you, I'm hearing the jungle drums banging away in the distance. I think the way things are going, and don't quote me on any of this because none of this is official, but I think you'll find that over the course of the next year or two, the water companies will stop offering drain surveys on private drainage systems. At the moment, they're still doing it. Yeah. But I think in the very near future, they're going to stop doing that. And they will be looking, one would imagine, for contractors who are part of an accredited scheme to refer that work to. And I'm not mentioning any names.
Yeah. Drain safe. Yeah, you never know.
I think you might find if you ring your local water company and say, I think I've got rats, they'll be saying, okay, call in an accredited contractor, get your drain surveyed, and once we're satisfied that you've had your drain surveyed and there's no problem on your part of the network, we'll come out and survey our part of the network.
I think that's fair.
I think it's more than reasonable. I do think it's more than reasonable.
Because I tell you what got us interested in actually doing that to start with, even getting any interest in drains, was we were at a kill germ on the road day workshop, they call them. You know, where you go through, like a load of training and talks, etc. And Davey was talking, and it was fascinating. The course was. And he mentioned about, I'm sure he mentioned something about, what blew my mind was the bit where someone's got a house and they've decided to build an extension. And it was the bit about messing with the extension. And I didn't know there was a law. They owned it and all that. And next thing, I messaged Davey saying, let us know when the nearest course is next year and I'll do it. He says, I think for you, it'll be the one at Burton-on-Trent. Come to that one, I'll let you know when the dates are available. So I went on it. But that fascinated me. And I love telling customers that bit of the law. I was like, right, this is... What's that? Do you have permission? Do you have this bit of paper? What's that?
There's a situation. It's been going on for quite a while, Shaun.
Yeah.
Where people are getting builders in. They're building over local authority, local water company sewers.
Yeah.
But the builders that they're using aren't as competent as they should be. And what they're doing is they're leaving old pipework in the ground, old manholes in the ground, old pipework in the ground that's been broken off, hasn't been capped off properly. And within 6 months or a year of the extension being built, the next thing you know, they can hear rats in the walls and they're under the floor and they're here, they're there. And it's all down to poor workmanship. Now, we've been talking to organisations like REBA, which is the Royal Institute of British Architects. We've been talking to CIAT, which is the Chartered Institute of Architectural Technologists. We're talking to LABC. We're talking to a wide variety of stakeholders, including the water companies. And we're saying, if you're applying to have an extension built, you should be having both a pre and a post conditional drain survey.
Yeah,
and the preconditional survey is to establish what drainage you've got on your property, where is it, what conditions it's in, who does it belong to see if you actually need consent from the water company or whether you don't. Some drainage contractors, myself I'm one of them, will offer something called a planning meeting where you can liaise with the architect to help design the new system, the new drainage system layout. But what is absolutely imperative is that the post-conditional drain survey is carried out. And that's to make sure that that new drainage system has been laid in accordance with the Part 8 of the building regs. And there are things in the works at the moment where I think, well, in fact, I don't think, I know for a fact that those types of surveys are going to be much more stringently enforced.
So, you know, when new housing estates are built and they go up so fast, do these new houses have to have, when they put the drain systems in, do they have to have loads of surveys done all the time?
They are supposed to have what's called a PC, practical completion drain survey.
The old flood. That's all I'm saying.
I'm dealing with a developer at the moment, and they've got about 4 or 5 sites which are proving problematic. I was on one of their sites today. I'm on another one of their sites tomorrow, and I can tell you now, PCs were never carried out because the drainage systems on these sites are packed out with shingle and builder's rubble and bits of wood and bits of insulation and Christ knows what. And every time we go up to deal with a blockage, we're dragging this stuff out in the drains, we're putting it in buckets, we're photographing it, and we're sending it back to them and saying, this is what we're pulling out. And it seems to be on every single job we go to. Same thing.
I just wonder, because I'm not saying all new housing estates, but a lot of them flood because they build them on floodplains. They do. Just, I think the drainage as well.
That doesn't help, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's like, I'm not the biggest expert in obviously drains, but I've seen drains where I've told them you need to get your drains up. Like my dad looked at it and he says, you know, when they flush the toilet and the water goes that fast that the toilet paper's still left. That. I've seen that. And he said, well, it's a bit late now, you're going to have to get it fixed. But that costs it at that point, isn't it? To get it all redone.
We also have, I don't know about other places in the country, but this same organisation I'm talking to you about, same developer, they're putting in economy flushes all over the place. And economy flushes, if you push the economy flush like the smaller button, which a lot of people don't realise the difference between the two, it's only pushing solidified toilet waste round the trap and about a metre or 2 down the line. And it's literally just sitting there. There's not enough power on the flush to, disperse the waste that's just gone down the toilet. And that in itself is causing problems too. So I always tell people, if you've got an economy flush, always use the full flush, you know.
I've only got one flush on my toilet, so that's fine. You know, I didn't know that. I didn't know these toilets had 2 different flushes.
Yeah, 2 flush buttons, yeah. One for wet waste and one for solid.
Getting more better ways to sell toilets now, eh?
Yeah, it's all about saving the environment.
It's
saving
everything is. The reason it come to that, we were doing something. We were looking at the radish and we were looking at the drains. And we rang him, like the developer. I says, we can't even look at these, mate. He went, why? He says, well, there's about 6 to 8 foot of water. What do you mean? He says, it's full of, everything's down there. The next thing you know, I don't know who he got out. He got a company and they cleared it. But we think it will happen again in a while because we told him what's happening. The water's going way too fast and leaving the toilet paper behind. So eventually it'll happen again. It will.
Yeah.
It'll build up and build up. And that was a purpose. A load of houses were built and all the houses' drains were lower down, but this other one, it's weird how they've done the drains big time. There was no need to do it that way. When they sent us the plans, Dad was reading the plans. It's like, these don't line up with what you actually got. He told the guy.
No,
But the problem is for a lot of developers are not. He said, "But Dad, are you a builder or anything?" I'm just a tiler, mate. We put some money in. I was like, oh,
Yeah, plan drawings and as-built are often very, very different pictures.
Yeah.
Very different.
I'm no expert on it, but like, even my dad said that you could have just joined it to the other one out, but he says all the houses are built now, so these issues are your problem. They are,
Indeed.
They are. So
and they are ongoing.
Yeah, they are. Seems to be an ever-changing landscape in drainage. Well, it's in every industry. It is. The pest control industry is getting more and more. We're getting more and more regulated on what we can do. Certain tools are being removed, whether that's licensing or just by law practices. They are. Is there in the drainage industry? It's like is it deemed a regulated industry, or is it like a regulated industry in a sense that it's not? You regulate yourself, so you're supposed to. Is it like that?
There's no regulation as such. I mean, you've got the pure regs under the Health and Safety Act. That's provision and use of work equipment regulations. Yeah. And what it states is, and it's quite loose, even at its best, the interpretation is, but the long and short of it is, if you're using equipment in the workplace, you should be properly trained and certified on that piece of equipment. Now, to give you an example, if you went onto a building site to drive a dumper or a JCB or even the tower crane, you wouldn't get to set foot on that site unless you could prove that you had a whole host of competency to do that. That said, there's people on drainage companies up and down the length and breadth of this country, and probably I imagine around the world, that are using what I deem to be very, very dangerous equipment, high pressure jetting equipment, with absolutely no formal training whatsoever. None. And for the life of me, I can't see that. In this day and age, I can't see it. That said, when it comes to training, if you ask most drainage contractors, have they ever done any training at all? Most of them will tell you that they've held a jetting certificate at one time or another. See, with the National Drainage Academy, all of our training goes through energy and utility skills. Yeah? The idea behind that is if you do all of your training, so that's your basic health and safety, shear drains and sewers, your jetting, your electromech, your CCTV, your patch lining, your excavation and repair. If you do all of that through us, all of that certification goes on one card. So you don't have to go to 10 or 15 different training providers. You're not walking around with a wallet that thick full of certification cards. Everything goes on one card, and it's all online as well. So you can go on to the EUSR register. Any engineer can put in his name and his 6-digit number, hit the button, his photograph will come up on the screen, and all of his valid certification is listed beneath it. And that's one of the reasons why we have done it that way. It's been deliberately structured that way to make maintaining your engineer's certification that much easier.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That is. It's also crazy to believe that at the same time, if you were an actual drainage company, that you wouldn't have because imagine if this is how I see it, not from your perspective on about health and safety, but say you haven't got in that training and your employee dies or gets heavily injured, and you look into it, where's his training? That could get seriously in trouble for that.
Yeah. I had a chat with a guy. I'm going back a few years now. He was an assistant caretaker at a school not far from me, Southend. And he was called to go to the school. There was a block drain, and he was told to help the drainage engineer on the job. Now, the drainage engineer had said to him, can you put your foot on that pedal and run my machine? And I'm going to go outside and see if I can hear it. Now, what he didn't realise was, as he had his foot on the machine, the cable was slowly but surely recoiling back into the machine. Now, he couldn't have known that. He's never used the machine before. But what happened was, the cutting blade, which in this instance was an oxbow, U-shaped blade with leading edge teeth on it, slipped out the drain, spinning, whipped up and caught him in the face.
Oh.
Yeah. When I spoke to him, he had just finished his 5th surgery and he was told that he needed 2 more. And when the health and safety executive started looking into the incident, it turned out that the guy that was using the machine, no certification at all across the board. So he had electromechanical machines on the van. This is quite a reputable company. If I told you the name of this company, you'd know them. You'd know who it is. A national company. But the engineer had absolutely no certification, not for jetting, not for electromechanical, not for his CCTV, no certification whatsoever. And when they dug deeper, the other 12 engineers on the company, same thing. None of them held any certification. Yet they were using all of this equipment on a day-to-day basis in the field. And employing the help of people like this guy who had no clue about the machinery, never seen it before.
This is mental. I imagine, though, that he went to court and everything. That guy can't work now, can he?
I did actually ask him to keep me up to speed, but I didn't hear back from him. But I had to feel for him.
Yeah.
I had to feel for him.
I mean, he's lucky because he could have died. It could have got worse. It could have, on his throat. You could have,
could have blinded him. Could have just as easily blinded him. But he was facially scarred. He told me on the phone, I'm facially scarred for life as a result. But bad enough that he was asked to use the machine. The engineer on site, no certification, so on. As sad as it is to say, it's the same story for an awful lot of drainage contractors up and down the country. They're not adhering to the Health and Safety Act because none of them maintain certification on what they're doing day to day across the board. Jetting, CCTV, electromechanical, all of these things are dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
They all come with their dangers. And you should, by law, under the pure regs, have your certification in place, but they just don't. It's that the old adage, it will never happen to me. Well, it doesn't happen to you until it happens to you.
Yeah, it probably won't happen to you, but happen to one of your employees, then you're in trouble.
Well, I've been jetting 17 years when it did happen to me. I nearly lost the sight of my left eye. Rushing on a job, basically. And foolishly, my jet had been completely antifreezed. I know that because I'd done it 2 days before Christmas Eve. Went to site. It was a trader jet, and a Super Series 6. And in my haste to get the job done, I connected the supply hose. The bottom half of the supply hose had frozen water in it, icy water. Connected that up to the tap, turned it on, and pushed all of that icy water into the jet tanks because it was freezing cold, and I just wanted to get the job done and get back home, put my feet up because it was in the middle of the Christmas period. Jet whipped up, caught me in the face, smashed all of these teeth. They're not real.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
None of them are real. I've got 6 stitches across the front of my lip, 6 stitches behind, and I had to attend Moorfields Eye Hospital every 2 weeks for about 6 months because they thought they were going to have to operate on the optic nerve at the back of this eye. Do you want to know the crazy thing? My visor was literally 10 feet away from me on the side loading, just behind the side loading door of my van. And the only reason I didn't put it on is because it was freezing wet, freezing cold and soaking wet. And because it was a cold day, I didn't want to put a cold, wet visor over my face. If I had it on, all of that would have been avoided. So, believe you me, I learned my lesson that day. I'm still learning it every day as a result of it.
It takes some good stories here, but not good for you, but learning points of people to do health and safety.
I tell that story on every training course that I run. Every single training course I run. Always use your PPE because it just isn't worth it. It's not worth it not to. Someone
on the LinkedIn chat, Martin White, has said, is adding a membrane inside a drain an acceptable fix if there's damaged joints are found?
A membrane. If by a membrane he means a patch liner, then yes.
I think that's what he means. He must mean patch liner.
Yeah. If membrane means a patch liner or a full liner, then yes, absolutely. Fully opposite. It has been for 30 years.
That's good question that came up. But yeah, there's a few people. More people listen to my podcast after the fact. They catch up with it. They do. So have you got any really, really bad jobs where I hear all these jobs where people have had their cameras caught and they've had to get them out. Have you got any stories on that? Are you? I imagine by your face.
Every now and again.
Yeah.
Every now and again, your cameraman, because I work at the computer. I'm looking at the computer.
Yeah.
I'm typing into my laptop. I've got a cameraman feeding the camera for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's him or me or a combination of two, but they'll get up to a bend. I'll go, right, go easy round the bend. They'll go around the bend and everything's great. And then you're halfway through getting the camera out and all of a sudden, clunk, it's like, it's not coming out. And that is when your heart rate doubles. And you could be on a freezing cold day, beads of sweat are running down because sometimes, I mean, it's only happened to me a couple of times when you've had to start breaking ground to get your camera out. The last time I was on the job in St John's Wood, that was my fault. I told him to push it round. I shouldn't have done. But it went round a bend and then straight down the back of a gully. So it had gone round a hard left and then dropped down. And there was no way we were getting it out. And the only thing we could do was get the mini breaker out of the van, break out the gully, retrieve the camera, and we had to go back the following day and fit a new gully for the gentleman at our own time and at our own expense. But you know,
I've heard a lot about this. I have.
You do need to be careful with your cameras, and that's one of the reasons why I tell pest controllers as well. Be very careful about what camera gear you buy, because if you're not used to camera and if you're not used to CCTV, you could get yourself in an awful lot of trouble very quickly. You jam a camera in a pipe underneath somebody's kitchen floor, for example, that's got underfloor heating in it, and the only way to get that out is to start breaking that out. It could work out a very expensive job. The other thing is as well, a lot of people don't realise this, with pest controllers, if you're starting to survey drains, you need to be informing your insurance company that that's what you're doing and making sure you're properly covered.
Yeah, I will say, though, with the company Bradshaw and Bennett, if you have their pest control insurance, it does come as a standard. That does. But they've said, I asked them at PestX, and they said, as long as you're just surveying and using the camera, but if you were to go in the drain, we have to know. We have to know everything. Give us a ring. Well, I don't know if you ever would go in the drain. I don't know what they meant by if you go in the drain.
Don't get in the drain.
Yeah.
Do not
then you're talking, what's it called? That law, that rule.
Confined space.
That's it, confined spaces. But they said, yeah, just let us know. But they said generally, if you're just using your camera, you're fine. So you are actually covered, they said.
Yeah.
But anything more, they said, well, you need to ring us and tell us what you can do.
Years ago, the policy was, when I was young, you could get into a manhole if it was up to waist height, or a chamber. You can only get into it if it was only up to waist height, because the top half of your body was out of the chamber and you're in the ambient air. The problem with that is, as soon as you bend down,
well,
you're not in the ambient air. And if you get a blowback off the sewer, a lot of people don't realise it, but them gases down there take about 3 to 4 minutes to kill you.
Wow.
So if you're down a manhole and you pass out, by the time your mate at the top has picked up his phone, called the emergency services, explained where you are and what the problem is, by the time the fireman's coming down the greasy pole, chances are you're already dead.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. There's no one to scare people with it, but it's a fact, though, isn't it? It's
Lads do it all the time. We'll be down there 4 minutes. Just nip down there. You'll be all right. And some of these chambers are quite deep.
Yeah.
Some of these chambers are quite deep. 2-3 meters. You go down there and you get a blowback off that sewer. The thing is, a lot of the gases that will catch you out, there's no scent to them. There's no smell to them. And some of them are more dense, which means you can be standing up and the air you're breathing is relatively okay. As soon as you scratch down, your head goes down into it, you can't see it. All of a sudden, you're breathing gas, you're dizzy, bang, you're out, you're unconscious. And the very worst thing anybody at the top can do is come down after you, because that has happened on a few occasions, and that's multiple fatalities.
Really? What, people have gone in to save them and they've ended up dead themselves?
Happened to 2 brothers in Dublin a few years ago. One of them went down into a deep chamber. Yeah. His brother was sitting up in the van having tea and sandwiches, and he was calling him, will you come up and have your tea? Come up and have your tea. And he wasn't responding. So he got out of the van and climbed down to see what he was doing. And the old fella watching the gate, the old bloke on security, seen them both go down, not come out, had his wits about him, called the fire service. The fire service showed up and pulled 2 bodies out. Both gone. 2 brothers in their 30s.
Terrible, isn't it?
2 brothers in their 30s. Confined space all the way. That's full gear. That's gas detection. That's harness. That's breathing apparatus, emergency BA kit. That's personal gas detection. That alarm will go off. It will go off.
So obviously, I'm guessing they knew they shouldn't be going down there, didn't they?
Well, we all know we shouldn't be going down there, but
you just pop down there, don't you?
Don't do it.
Yeah.
You can be sure 500 or 1,000 lads up and down this country today have jumped into a manhole chamber that they knew full well they shouldn't have been getting into, but they've done it anyway.
Oh, I know Woody. He's telling me it's common knowledge. Yeah, I didn't know a lot of people died like that, Woody. That was all. I didn't know it was a common thing. I knew that you shouldn't be getting into drains, obviously. About
20 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in London, 3 lads, one after the other. They all went down. Somebody called the fire service in a market somewhere in London. And I think it was one of the market traders in that instance used to work for the council, and see them going down one after the other. And he picked up the phone, called the fire service. Fire service come out, BA gear, went in, 3 fatalities.
Yeah, it shows you, doesn't it? It does. Health and safety. Health and safety
comes first. Look, nobody comes to work to get injured or killed.
And they don't.
It just isn't worth it, is it? Certainly don't come to work to get blinded. Don't come to work to lose your teeth. I certainly didn't that day, but my own negligence.
That's how most of it happens, isn't it? It's just that moment you lapse and think, fuck it, I'll do it. And that's when it goes wrong. Yeah.
Split second. That's all it took. A split second to scar me and injure me the way it did.
No, it's Yeah, it's insightful stuff, mate. It really is. It's what's it called? Is there anything else you'd recommend for pest controllers? Any kind of cameras, or is there any new cameras coming out in the future that might help people?
I know of pure. I know this for a fact because I intend to buy one myself. But there's one company. I'm not. Don't know if I'm supposed to actually name one company over another. Okay, let me put it this way. There's one company in particular. A lot of the lads are buying their cameras, because they're reasonably priced and extremely reliable, and the locators that they come with, made by the same company, are hyper accurate. But they're bringing out they've got a small camera about half the size of our main lines. Yeah. The camera's about $3,500, $4,000, I think, at the moment. But they're bringing out one. I'm hoping it'll be out before the end of the year, but it's got pan and tilt on the end of it. But this camera can go out about 30 odd meters, and you can record everything to an app as well, which comes with it. And the second that's on the market, I'll be buying 3, one for each of my vans. But I would say to the guys, look, don't buy a £500 camera off of eBay. It's all well and good saying, well, I'm just getting started. I only want a cheap camera. No, you don't. You want the best camera that you can afford. And when you consider what is a drone survey, a vermin investigation survey in London, around about £350 on a domestic. Yeah. You've only got to do 10 surveys and that camera unit has paid for itself. So it's worth the investment. It's worth the investment. And what's as much as that, equally, having the proper training and certification across the board. Because you want to be able to say to your clients, we're qualified, here's our certification, we're using proper equipment, here is an example copy, for example, of one of our survey reports, and you should be using recognised reporting software as well, in my view. You know, but what I can tell you, and I have this on very, very good authority, demand for CCTV surveys is going to go up exponentially over the course of the next 3 or 4 years. Exponentially. But that work is only going to be going to companies that hold the correct qualification. It's not going to be going to Joe Blogg's drain firm up the road because the bloke there has been doing it 5 years and he happens to have a camera. No. It will be going to work. That work will be going to companies that meet a specific criteria. Okay. So
that's good to know.
If pest controllers up and down the country meet that criteria, they will be in, they'll be in line for that work as much as the drainage contractor down the road.
That's good to hear. It's an area of growth people could potentially look at doing. That is. Mm-hmm. Grow the companies.
I know one company
works there.
There's one company here in London, Shaun. Yeah. I trained 2 of their lads in 2019, just before COVID. Yeah. And he had 1 drainage van, 1 camera. I've now trained all of them. That same pest control company, at the last count, they had 9 drain cameras, 12 vans, and 9 of their vans had a drain camera. All of their lads, all fully certified, all of their reports to WRC standard, and they're making a fortune, an absolute fortune.
It's good because it's a growth area that can potentially be tapped into. Martin White's saying he's going to get himself on the next course then. Martin White's just put, I'll get myself on the next course then. Oh, I don't know which course he's referring to. CCTV,
I imagine CCTV.
Maybe. Yeah.
I imagine CCTV,
and and further to his early question where he asked about the membrane, he had a recent job that he was on, and he said that the membrane fixing the damaged joint didn't help with the flow.
What was it? What, Martin? I don't know if you can hear me. I imagine you can. Was it a WRC approved patch liner? Did a professional drainage contractor come out and fit a patch liner? Is that what you mean by membrane?
Yeah.
Because the patch liners, they're actually quite thin, but they're extremely strong.
Yeah. No, he's I'll see if he comes back to me on that. But no, there's been some great information on the podcast. I'm sure it's really helped people. And
I hope so. I would hope so.
Yeah, he wants to go on the
CCTV. Yeah, well, look, give me a call.
Yeah.
I'm easily found.
Find him on LinkedIn. He's on LinkedIn. So
I'm on LinkedIn. The NADC logo is on my
profile
on my LinkedIn thing, so you'll know it's me. And I would invite anybody that wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, anybody that's watching now or in the future, feel free to do so. I get people connecting with me. I've got 8,500 people following me there now.
Oh, dream territory. I wish I could be. I'm nearly at 2,000. I am.
Well, it's just taken a while for that to build up, I can assure you.
Oh, I imagine it has. Yeah,
but,
it has.
Every time I logged in, there's 4 or 5 people that want to connect with me, and I'm very choosy about who I let to connect as well.
I used to let everyone in. I used to, but now I don't anymore.
A lot of people are just trying to connect because they want to sell you stuff. They want
a lot of the time they want a job off me for some reason. They do. I'm a bit more choosier with connections. Not obviously followers follow you, but but they want inside your connections, don't they? But I have my connections set so you can't see them. I turned mine on. I did. Yeah, but thanks for coming on. And do you want to? I will put your information in the description as well. Do you want to promote any of your courses or anything on the podcast?
I would say to any pest controller, I would say this: if you're going to go into vermin surveys, there's never been a better time to do it. But make sure A, you're using the right certification. Yeah, so see David Brown, see me. B, make sure you're investing in the proper camera gear, because you don't want to invest, 500 grand, 15, 2 grand in something that is not much use to you 3-4 months down the line. Buy the right gear from the start. Yeah. And make sure that you're reporting to a recognized standard. And if you tick all of them boxes, you should do well. There's no reason why you shouldn't do well.
Well, you've said there's proof of that with this London Pest Control Company. It's now gone to 9. Yeah. So there is an area there for growth.
Okay, let's be fair. It's taken them 7 years to get there.
It's still good though for someone to expand to 9 when they probably do, other pest control services too. So there must be a fairly large company, I would say. I would.
Well, they're running 12 vans in the London area.
Yeah.
So 9 cameras on 12 vans at the last count. I would say it's working out very, very well for them.
Proofs, yeah. So there is room for growth there. But yeah, it's been an interesting chat. I'm sure you probably get a lot of interest from the podcast, because I'll put it up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It goes nearly everywhere you can get a podcast. But now you can add on, tell everyone. You do seminars and courses online. You've now done a live podcast as well.
A live podcast, yeah.
There you go. You've ticked it off on your bucket list. I don't think it was on there.
I'll be signing autographs very soon, yeah.
You will.
Well, listen, Shaun, it's been a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to talk to you and the wider Pest Control Network. And thanks a lot for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks, everyone. I'll see you all next week. You just stay on the line for a minute, Martin. I'll just end the stream. Right, thanks, everyone. And I'll see you next Tuesday.